Hello class, good evening. So now this will be the last video or last topic for this course, Anti-Money Laundering Act or Republic Act number 9160 as amended. So let's start. First, Republic Act 9160 or Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2001. So first, this will be the original act is Republic Act 9160. There's so many amendments. First is Republic Act number 9194. Next is Republic Act 10167, Republic Act number 10365, and Republic Act number 10927. So, ito na batas class. Kung gusto nyong malaman yung buong Anti-Money Laundering Act, so you need to read all of this. So, ito yung pinaka-current na batas. Amendments on the Republic Act 9160. So, syempre, kapag ginawa itong batas, there is a purpose. First is, number 1, confidentiality and integrity of bank accounts. So, kahit na sinasabi na mayroong Anti-Money Laundering Act, one of the purpose of this law is to have a confidential and integrity of bank accounts. Number 2, the Philippines shall not become a money laundering site. So, ginawa itong batas para nang sa ganon, hindi gagawin ng mga ibang tao or ibang country na ang Pilipinas ay maging money laundering site. So, bawal yon. Number 3, to cooperate with transnational to investigate and to prosecute. So, syempre, kapag may money laundering na, makikooperate tayo sa mga ibang bansa. So, just like Bangladesh bank heist na nangyari. So, what is money laundering? Money laundering is a crime whereby the proceeds of an unlawful activity are transacted, thereby making them appear to have originated from legitimate sources. So, take note class, money laundering is a crime. So, take note of that. Yun yung money laundering, yun yung definition na ibinigay ng batas. Money laundering is a crime. So, ibig sabihin, kapag napatunayan na money launderer ka, so you are liable with criminal offenses. And at the same time, kapag may you are subject to criminal offenses, you are also a civilly liable. So next, there are 3 stages of money laundering. Number 1, so ito yung scheme ng money laundering class. So unang-una, collection of dirty money. So yung mga pera na galing sa masama, so as it from a legit business. So yung mga pera na galing sa masama, ipinapakita lang na as if galing siya sa legit na business. So, ngayon, ang ginagawa, first is placement. Itong mga dirty money is, first stages of money laundering is una, placement. So, as if yung mga dirty money, ay yung mga nangongolekta ng dirty money. And at the same time, as if galing sila sa legit na business, inilalagay sa bangko. So, that is placement. Number 2 will be layering. So, ano itong layering? So, 'di ba, yung pera is nasa bangko na, yung mga dirty money nasa bangko na. Itong layering naman is halimbawa, from bangko ililipat mo na sa ibang tao. Payment by Y of false invoice to company X. O di kaya ita-transfer mo yung pera galing dito sa bangko sa ibang kumpanya. Naintindihan? O di kaya ipapautang mo sa ibang tao. O di kaya electronic transfer. Mobile banking from this bank to another bank. Naintindihan? So, that is layering. So, next, number 3 will be integration. So, ano itong integration? So, di ba, galing dito sa bangko, from placement, punta ng layering. So, kapag galing sa bangko, ililipat mo na sa ibang bangko. So, as if, ibibili mo na ngayon ng luxury assets, financial investments, commercial or industrial investments. So, ibig sabihin, class, yung collection ng dirty money, ililipat mo lang sa ibang as if pinaghirapan mo yung pera galing sa mabuting business. So, that is money laundering. Yan yung usual na stages ng money laundering. Pero, in reality, mas complex pa dyan, class. So, mas complex sa realidad. So, ito lang yung parang cycle ng money laundering. So, and take note, this will be the 3 stages of money laundering, class, placement, layering, and integration. Next. So, AMLA is designed to detect money laundering at the very earliest stages. Take note, class, sa money laundering kasi, mahirap nang ma-detect ang money laundering kung nasa layering na at saka integration. So, mas madaling hulihin ang mga money launderer kung nasa at the very earliest stages pa lang. Naintindihan? So, dapat ma-detect na sila before mangyari yung laundering scheme. So, kaya yung batas, ang ginawa, preventive measures. Preventive measures ang ginawa ng batas. So, number 1, customer identification. So, syempre, in the customer identification, you must know your customer or KYC. So, 'di ba? Sabi ng batas, mahirap nang hulihin ang mga money launderer kung nasa layering at saka integration stages ka na. So, ibig sabihin, bago pa mag-umpisa ang transaction, dapat meron ng preventive measures just like customer identification. Dapat kilalanin mo na kung sino si customer. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo sa mga pawn shops or di kaya sa mga pera padala or money remittances, nakalagay doon, ilalagay mong pangalan mo, number mo, relationship mo doon sa sender or di kaya relationship mo doon sa receiver or di kaya purpose of this transaction. So, yun yung that is KYC na tinatawag. O di kaya sa mga bangko, di ba sa bangko, hihingan ka ng bibigyan ka ng forms, fill upan mo, hihingan ka ng ID, valid ID, hihingan ka pa ng barangay certificate kung nire-require ng bangko. Kasi nga, para malaman nila yung makilala nila si customer. And then next, prohibited accounts. So, syempre, limbawa, mag-open ka ng bank account mo. So, syempre, pinoprohibit nila yung mga accounts which is fictitious. So, fictitious accounts, yung mga fictitious accounts. And then number 3, customer due diligence. Not only identity, but need to know the source of funds. So, limbawa, kilala mo na si customer, nakuhanan mo na siya ng pangalan, birthday, saan siya nakatira, and any other important information. Ngayon, so, magkaroon dapat ng customer due diligence. Ano ito? So, kailangan mo ding alamin kung saan siya kumukuha ng kanyang pera. Naintindihan? Halimbawa, fishball vendor. Si fishball vendor, magde-deposit ng 500,000 in just only one day. So, ibig sabihin, dapat dapat meron ka ng skepticism with that. Professional skepticism. Magtatanong ka na sa mind mo kung pagtingin mo sa isang tao, may capacity ba siya mag-deposit ng 500,000 in just only one day? And then yung trabaho niya is fishball vendor lamang. So, doon mo na dapat mag-exercise ka na ng due diligence. Number 2, so record keeping. So, record keeping, di ba, kinuhanan mo na ng lahat ng information si customer. So, dapat, sabi ng batas, i-keep mo yung record niya within 5 years. Naintindihan? So, after 5 years, so pwede mo na itapon. Number 3, transaction reporting. So, halimbawa, in transaction reporting class, nakuhanan mo na si customer, so kailangan mo na siyang i-report. So, in transaction reporting, una, covered transaction. Ano ba yung mga transaction na covered lamang ng, or ano yung mga transaction na dapat mo lamang i-report sa AMLC. Amount on, so dito class sa mga covered transactions, only the amount ang tinitingnan. So in excess only ng 500,000, 1 million, and 5 million. So mamaya iisa-isahin natin ito. So here ang importante sa covered transaction is yung amount only. Dito mo lang titingnan. Number 2, suspicious transactions. Sa suspicious transactions, any circumstances that make the transactions suspicious. So, yan yung nakalagay sa batas. So, ano itong mga suspicious transactions? Number 1, economic justification. So, di ba sabi ko kanina, fishbowl vendor, nag-deposit ng 500,000 sa bangko in just one account. So, dapat i-justify mo na si fish vendor meron ngang capacity na mag-deposit ng 500,000 in just one day. So, yun yung pero kapag hindi niya ma-justify na he has the capacity to deposit 500,000 in just one day, so suspicious na yon, suspicious transactions na yon. So, kailangan mo na siyang i-report sa AMLC. The client is not properly identified. Hindi mo kilala, hindi ka nag-conduct ng know your customer. Or di kaya, disproportionate from the client's capacity. So, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina. Yung kapasidad niya is hindi nakikita doon sa kanyang profile. Deviates customer profile. Iba yung nasa form, iba doon sa realidad. Structured in such a way to avoid being reported. So, in a structure niya, just for example, sa bangko kasi, you are subject to report kung yung transaction mo is above 500,000. So, halimbawa, ang ginawa mo, 100,000 ngayon, bukas 100,000, bukas next day 100,000, the next day 100,000. So, ibig sabihin, yung 500,000 hinati-hati mo. So, tapos magkakasunod, suspicious transactions na yon. Why? It's because nga, in-structure mo para hindi ka lang ma-report. Naintindihan? So, suspicious transactions ang tawag doon. And lastly, any manner related to money laundering. So, yun yung nakalagay sa batas. So, ito, nilagay lang ito ng batas para naman those other transactions na hindi mag-fit doon sa definition ng money laundering. Any act that is similar to the foregoing. So, and number 3, realty transactions. Amount only in excess of 500,000. Ito naman class doon sa mga bilihan ng lupa. Ito yung mga suspicious transactions. Next, who shall report? Sino ang magre-report? So, ito yung ang tawag sa kanila is covered persons. So, number 1, financial institutions regulated or supervised by number 1, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Number 2, Insurance Commission. Number 3, Securities and Exchange Commission. Take note class hindi si Bangko Sentral ang magre-report. Hindi din si Insurance Commission as well as hindi din si SEC ang magre-report. Yung mga kumpanya na sinusupervise ng tatlong ito. Naintindihan? Just for example, ano ba yung mga kumpanya na sinusupervise ng Bangko Sentral? Bangko, BDO, BPI. So, si BPI or si Bangko, BDO, sila yung magre-report kay Bangko Sentral. Naintindihan? Or sa AMLC rather. Naintindihan? Or di kaya sa Insurance Commission, yung mga insurance companies, pre-need companies. So, yun yung sila yung dapat mag-report. Or di kaya sa Securities and Exchange Commission, yung mga korporasyon, yung mga malalaking korporasyon, so sila yung dapat mag-report sa AMLC. Next, number 2, designated non-financial business and profession. So, ano naman sila? These are entities not covered by BSP, IC, and SEC. So, dito na magpo-full class yung mga kumpanya na hindi sinusupervise ng tatlong ito. Naintindihan? Just like for example, jewelers. So, yung ba nagbebenta ng jewelers or other precious stones. So, here class, di ba kanina, ang general rule kasi, ang general rule ng covered transaction is 500,000 in above, in excess of 500,000 in above.